Hey, I'm Bobby from D&D Horror Stories, and you're watching Rated T for TTRPG. All right. I don't think we've actually done a video in a long time. We've done, what, one joke off?
Yeah, but we've never done a sit
That's
down.
Right. All right. So this one is called, Am I the Asshole for Being Too Flashy? Which, just the title, I'm already going to say no. Depending on how bad it gets, like, no. Hey y'all, first post here, and just had a pretty rough argument with a member of my group that might have resulted in one or both of us leaving the table, and I'm really hung up about it. This table was my first ever D&D group. I joined back in 2023 as we started to play Curse of Strahd. Awesome. They needed a new member for the party, and I needed something to do with my Wednesday nights, so it all worked out. I have never properly played the game before joining this table, so I was a complete noob as to how the game worked, but slowly picked up the mechanics through playing the game with them, as well as using actual play podcasts as a study guide so I could look up random terms I heard them use and learn from it. I still hate most D&D podcasts because of what they do to the community, but that's not a bad way to use them, honestly. Pretty quickly, it evolved from me barely understanding how to cast a spell to me now being arguably the most mechanically knowledgeable person at the table, due to the fact I have a weird memory for random tidbits of information, and thus my gameplay evolved as I learned to experiment with the mechanics. Same.
I love that.
For some basic information, I am playing a High Elf Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer. Awesome choice. And the player I'm having some issues with is playing a Gnome Lore Bard. If anyone's familiar with Curse of Strahd, please don't spoil anything since the campaign is theoretically still happening. In theory.
Oh.
The situation occurred when the party decided to go after one of our objectives, a big temple hidden deep in the mountains, all fine and dandy, yeah? Well, the path was quite treacherous, and we encountered Varrock's ghostly warriors and a big boss that was guarding the temple itself. We managed to kill the boss, and we were about to proceed into the temple, and at this point I'm running a little low on resources. I have maybe 2 sorcery points, 1 first and 1 third level spell left to my name.
Yikes.
And at this point I asked the party if we could rest so I could recharge. That's fair.
Yep.
The DM mentioned it's only about 2 in the afternoon at this point, and the rest of the party brushed off my request because everyone else was doing fine and could keep going with only a short rest. Okay. I kind of grumbled to myself that a short rest really wouldn't do anything for me, but whatever. We trek into the temple and get into 2 more fights, and a trap required me to expend my last 3rd level spell to bust up a statue that would have screwed up the entire party really bad.
Whoa.
And it was at this point I asked once again, now being completely out of sorcery points and down to a single 1st level spell slot, if we could sleep. The DMs informed us it was only about 5 p.m. now, and once again the party brushed me aside, saying it was still too early to sleep, and the bard condescendingly calls across the table, "Guess you gotta fight with a sword like the rest of us now. Or rest of us for once."
What?
No, you don't. You have so many cantrips. Like, I understand being out of spell slots, but like, as a sorcerer, you don't need to rely on spell slots, really.
No.
Like, it's a big part of your character, but in 2024, and even just regular, like, cantrips are awesome in 5th edition.
I like using the cantrips more anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Later on in the week, I messaged the group in our debriefing chat. I mentioned that the bard's comment really bugged me and asked if I could have a bit more understanding when I asked for rest, because I was really struggling with not being able to do much with how frequently it seemed enemies were resisting everything I'd left, and how that was really frustrating for me. You don't even need to sleep for a long rest. Like, you don't.
Don't you just need a long rest to just get your spells back?
Yeah. But everyone's always under the impression during a long rest
Yeah.
you need to sleep, which, my opinion, you don't.
Isn't that just if depending on your race, or no?
And especially for a
Yeah.
high elves,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah, you meditate.
Yeah.
You can do. Arguably, you just need to meditate. Everyone else can, like, take inventory, eat,
Right.
everything like that. The bard then chimes into the chat and begins to criticize the way I play. That's escalated. Essentially calling me out for using too many flashy spells, and asks why the hell I have such an aversion to just fighting with a sword like everyone else.
What?
Saying that the whole resting issue wouldn't be such an issue if I wasn't playing such a show-off, and ended off his rant by saying, "God forbid you aren't in the goddamn spotlight all the time," before he left every group chat associated with our campaign, and me feeling very hurt by his comments, I followed soon after. Am I the asshole for being too flashy and expecting elves to wait for me? You're a caster. Like, you're kind of like not the backbone of the fucking group, but you're a fucking strong arm of the group. Especially with your last 3rd level spell, saving the group from getting fucked up. Like, that's literally what casters are there for.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we definitely need casters in every group. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Like, at least a partial caster.
Right, it
Like,
doesn't
like
have
an
to-
Eldritch Knight,
yeah.
a Warlock. Sorcerers are my favorite, so I guess I might be a little biased. But the Bard, I don't know the makeup of the rest of the party, but it seems to me that because they needed a player for
Right.
it, the Bard was used to being the flashy one. By playing a Bard, that's telling me you're flashy.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're definitely not flashy. I do agree with that. As a spellcaster, there's no way to be flashy. You're a spellcaster using spells.
Yeah, you're using your class and mechanics. That's like
Yeah.
telling the Bard he's being flashy for using his lore.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And also, and I know I've said this like 3 times now, but a sorcerer using a sword, there are lots of spells for that. You can, spells that influence weapons you're using, ones that, man, my nose is itchy, ones that use spells to create swords.
Oh, yeah.
And no, the Bard's the asshole. The Bard's used to being in the spotlight. And they felt that because they weren't in the direct spotlight, that you were taking it from them. That's speculation, but that's what I'm getting out of the comments.
They're pretty valid for how they feel, for sure.
Yeah, especially because, again, using your fucking spells is not being flashy unless you're wasting them on everything, which, as a sorcerer, you're probably not because of how many sorcery points you have.
Right.
Warlock, even less of an issue. Wizard, maybe. But no, fuck that Bard. Fuck everything to do with that Bard.
I would have just stayed in the campaign.
Yeah, I've been like, alright, we're down a Bard.
Yeah.
No, like, that's not the asshole.
No.
Not the asshole at all.
Definitely not. Well, tell us what you guys think.
Put your stories in the comments like normal.
Yes.
The normal requests.
Let us know.
Tell us your opinion.
Yeah, let us know if you're playing a sorcerer or any kind of spellcaster, like what you would think about this situation.
Comment random numbers and letters. That also is helpful. Pocket comment. I don't care.
All right, catch you guys later.
And don't forget to lick that like button and subscribe. Woo!